Not me totally forgetting that I was supposed to be streaming while watching my own stream. I mean, that is crazy. I totally have the camera up right now. Oh no, I'm talking to myself. Haha, I'm so good at this. Hey Siri, open VTube Studio, which is totally a joke, chat, because it's already open and it's not. Siri, open VTube Studio. Siri. There we go. Okay, that's totally. I'm so good at. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Yeah. Yes, I know there's low power mode. I know it's low power. Come on, I need to be seen, please. They're leaving. God, quickly. God, fix it. Fix it. Hi. Hello, chat. My speakers are messed up. One sec. Okay, there we go. I'm fixed. Hi, chat. Am I fixed? Okay. Hello. Hello. How's everybody doing? Hi. I died naturally of old age. Anya, they call me old because they like to bully me and they hate me because everybody knows that the one thing chat. Fuck! No! Help! No. Stop. I don't want to look at shrimp. Why? What the fuck is going on today? Camera, stand still. Okay. There we go. Okay. Hi, chat. How's everybody doing today? Jeez. Okay. Wait. Okay, we should be good now. Anyways, hello, chat. My mom yelled, "Are you watching that furry I thought was your boyfriend?" I'm not a furry! Excuse me. No, bring your mom here. Don't bring your mom here. I'd get embarrassed. I'd get shy. I'd get nervous. I'd be all like, "Hi, I'm not a furry, but like..." What is up, everybody? How are you all doing? I'm not a fucking... What do you mean I'm a furry? Chat, in what world am I a furry? In what world am I a furry? In what world am I a furry, chat? This world? This world of lies? This world of lies is what you're trying to tell me, right? Right? Is that what it is? That doesn't make me a furry. No, don't take me to your mom. Don't take me to your mom. Don't take me to your mom. I'm not ready. I need to like. Chat, do I look good? Do I look Hi, Candace. How you doing? Why? Why is your mom here? Hello, Mom. How you doing? I look ancient. I do not look old, chat. I am so very young. Tell your mom that I love her and I think she's amazing, and that if she wants me over for Sunday dinner, I will happily come by. Okay. Let me do. Oh, hi. We got some new follows. 10 hours ago. Never mind. That doesn't matter. She said she'd love to. Can I bring like a dessert? I'll bring a dessert. I'll make something. I won't make cake. I can't make cake, but I'll make something else. What do I have on my shirt? I don't see any. Neeks! What? How dare you? Rude. She says freestyle. I got it. It'll be amazing. Wait, she wants me to freestyle as in like rap? I cannot do that. But if she means like freestyle food, that I can do. Okay. I'm sorry, Mom. I can't rap. I'm sorry I'm a disappointment. She wants you to bring. Okay, cool. Cool. I got this. I got this, chat. Right. Anyways, what were we doing? Hi. Yes. Hi, Control Pink. Thank you for getting first. Hello, Quiet Lullaby. Thank you for getting second. Hello, Saviati. Thank you for getting third. And let's go through everybody else who is currently here. Tyga. Lovely to see you. Hi, Callist. Hello, Aura. We're going to scroll all the way to... We're expecting you Sunday. I hope it's nearby. Not somebody I need to get a plane ticket for, chat, because I cannot afford a plane. I could afford a plane ticket. Work won't let me take time off. Hello, Anya. Good to see you. Hello, Vo. I don't know how to pronounce the second part of your name, but I guess it's Kotami? Kotami. Hello, Vo. How you doing? Hi, Silas. Hello, Pink. Good to see you. Good to see you. Hi, Crow. Hello, Gangsta Neeks. Good to see you. Moxie, Roxy. Your wife says hi. We'll tell your wife I also say hi. Grandpa Gene, how dare you, Venus? Hi, Allie. How you doing? Anya, lovely to see you. Pink, I already said hello to, but I'll say hello to you again. Venus, hi. I already said hi to you, though. Carmia, hi. So when is that date again? 6 p.m.? I mean, I guess I can end stream a little early, right, chat? Chat, if I end stream early, you have to blame Carmia, though. It's not my fault. Ooh, sweet tea. I forgot what I ordered. Hello, Venus. We already said... Why do I keep saying Venus's name? Venus, your name just sticks out so much. Tyga, we already said hi to. Aura, we said hello to. Memory loss does happen. Thank you. Allie. Hey there, Allie. Good evening, you little thing. Moss Dwarf! I like saying the word dwarf. Hi, Desi. I'm not blushing at being... I'm not a furry. No, I did not do my laundry. I was very depressed last night, chat, and so she said you can start barking when the doorbell rings because you're a furry. She said that you can start barking when the doorbell rings because you're a furry. Excuse me. How? Wow. Okay. Hi, Echo Rose. Lovely to see you. Hello, Little Venom. How you doing, Little Venom? And let's see, who do we have? Mitchie! Hi, Mitchie. Did you know Mitchie's making some art for me, chat? Just don't worry about it. I was depressed, chat. I couldn't do my laundry. I laid in bed and was sad for hours. I even went to bed, chat. And I didn't sleep for hours because I was so sad, and it was not a pleasant experience. Thank you for the lurking. Hi, Crucified. Hi, Ray said hi, Salas. No Sag Badge. I know. I mean, like, look. She likes you more than the other streamers. She said I need to unsub to Egg Samar to sub to you. I don't break your legs. I don't break your bones. So I get it. You know. You wear tab ties, like the clip-on ties? Anya, are you struggling putting on a clip-on tie? Do you need me to show you how to tie a tie? I can help you through it. Oh, okay, but I'll help you tie a tie. Okay, come here. Just get a little bit closer. I would have to be behind you though because I can't tie it on other people. So I'll just like arms around you, and then do it like that, like your neck is my neck. And just go, Nyeh. They look Japanese. How does a tie look Japanese? T-I-E, right? Not T-H-A-I? Yes, and if I tie this tie right, it looks like the Japanese character for courage. Japanese tie, everybody. That was the worst joke I've ever told in my entire life, you know. Okay, chat. So, everybody, we do have an ASMR collab to listen to today. That's why we started early. Do y'all want to watch an ASMR collab I did with a lovely person? I'm going in timeout. Okay. Now understand it's going to be a chill vibe. So I know that I've hyped all of you up right now, and it's probably like the stupidest thing in my life to be like, or do we want to watch it till the end of stream? What do you think? Should we do it at the end of stream while I try to find something to raid, or do we want to do it at the beginning of stream? Where's my burger? Your choice, chat. End of stream's probably a good idea. Yeah, because I mean, we're currently hyped up. We got all the energy in us. We're going. I did not order a Big Mac, but I did go to McDonald's because it's next to the gas station. I got myself the Big Mac meal. Not Big Mac. Not Big Mac. I meant McDouble. The McDouble meal. I got the McDouble. It's a better burger. Shush. Hey. Don't you fucking. No. Don't, I'm ending stream. Right now. I'm ending stream, chat. I'm ending stream. You can't, I just gotta, I'll be right back, chat. Just don't clip it. I need to go turn off stream real quick. Give me a second. Give me don't touch anything. Where did fucking, God damn it. Chat, did you clip it? Don't, no, hey. So, chat, I, remembered that I'm not real, so I can't click buttons. But you can. So no clipping. Don't you dare. It's fine. Don't worry about it, chat. Clip what? Okay. Just clip that. Why you stop clipping me? If Gene forgot his meds today. No, I actually took my meds today, chat. That's why I'm here and focused and I'm making sense and I'm not just all like, I'm over here just doing the struggle. See, chat, I took my meds today. That's why I'm happy and not sad. Meds don't make me not hyper, chat. Meds make me emotionally balanced. This is a balance, chat. It's a balancing act between me over here and me over there. And the me over here is all like angry and like reacts too aggressively, and the me over here has no emotions. And then when I go in the middle, bam. This is the balance. All the emotions. But they're not extreme. They're not like they don't. I take Adderall. I am ADD. I have the really high like reactions where the I'm trying to remember words, Chan. God damn it. I have like emotional kind of like that flips all over the place and really, really high impulsivity. So when I'm on Adderall, the impulsivity goes down and the emotions are a little bit more balanced. So I can kind of be happy and more controlled instead of, just like really sad and really happy all the time. Welcome to ADD. It has so many side effects. Well, not side effects. I guess it's just ADD. It's more than attention is all I'm saying. ADD is an impulsive disorder and it causes emotions to be hard to regulate. Anyways, Anya, come here. Anya, come here. Anya. Lovely Anya. You are so adorable, you know that? Thank you so much for the praise, Redeem. You are lovely and kind and sweet and just so darling. I mean, just the way that you defend me no matter what chat says, being all, oh no, Gene isn't old. You're very lovely, and I appreciate you so very, very much. You are going to do amazing. Going to do so well. Such great things. So you know what? Keep up with it. I believe in you. Mwah. And thank you for the praise. Redeem. Oh, wait. Why is the button not working? Ah! Aha. Ah, the button's broken. That's fine. Attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. It's true. It's true. It's a lot of things. We are kissing. What do you mean? We aren't kissing. Are we kissed? Chat. I don't remember us kissing. The button's broken. See, it doesn't move me. Oh, it moved. Oh. It moved me less than I was expecting, chat. Sorry, chat. I just gotta. I need to go like see how you all are doing back here. You know how you do. Okay. Chat. Do you feel less intimidated now that I'm at your height again? Do you feel better and more? Does this feel more natural to you now? Now that I'm the same height as you, you can look at me in the eyes. Oh wait, chat. God, how do you even sit on chairs, chat? We're just gonna. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Yeah. Okay. Oh God, this is insane, guys. How do you live like this? That's awful. Do you have to like get on the table if you really want to go? I mean, like it's probably easier if you just go like here and then get a little bit closer. Yeah. Oh God, I feel bad for you all. One day you'll get to like a normal height, one day. But until that day, you can just pretend. Pretend you're me, chat. Airplane bathrooms are made to make you hate yourself, chat. I'm not small. Sorry. I'm not big, chat. Bathrooms are small in airplanes. They're capitalism. Well, clearly you haven't been on many flights because I hate myself once I get on the flight, let alone when I'm in the bathroom or not. Burger! Time for Gene to receive a sweet praise. Dear Gene, I just want to say how so very proud of you for not only remembering to take your meds, but I'm proud of all the work you've been putting into everything. You're doing a fabulous job at making your streams lively and entertaining. Keep it up. You're doing amazing. I'll believe it this time, Desi. But it's about to call you a liar. All right. So, chat. Today, Red Dead. We're gonna play some I forgot to do a going live announcement on Twitter. Can y'all like watch the stream for a second while I go do the going live announcement? Just make sure nothing happens or nothing catches fire. No, Desi, thank you. But can y'all just like just watch stream for like 3 minutes, okay? I trust you. Don't let anything burn. Okay? Okay, thank you, chat. Thank you. You got this. I believe in you. Okay, y'all. Why is this fire? Why is there fire? Why is the chat window on fire? Chat. I asked you one thing to do, one thing, and look at this thing. Look at it, chat. What did you do? What did you do? Come on, really? I look away for a few seconds, and it's no. You know what? No, I'm going. I gotta go. I gotta look to see what's going on back there. Just 1 second. 1 second. I'll take a look. It's fine. I'm sure it's not as bad as it looks from up here, okay? Okay? Here. I'm just gonna look at the backside of it real quick. And no, chat, this was definitely on fire recently. What are you doing? Why do you keep setting on fire, chat? Why? It was so nice. It was so nice on the backside. And now there's burn marks and there's scorch marks. I can't. Oh God, it's the rugs. Come back. Okay. It's fine. Hi, Vanya. I saw you, Vanya. I saw you sneak in, Vanya. Don't think you can sneak in for too long. I said, stop. Hey. Stop it with the fire. Stop it. Bad. Vanya. Mwah. Hi. I like to play with fire. Don't. Okay. Now, we called you elderly, and you started to act out. What do you? I don't act any different than I ever have, chat. I've always been like this. Ever since I was dropped on a head as a child. I was also in football, chat. Do you think that I did enough football that it caused permanent? Oh. Chat, I don't like being short. Why would you let me get short like this? I don't want to be short. It's just the worst. How do you live like this? Give me back my kneecaps. Give him back. Give him back. Desi. I need those. Please. Please, can I? Please? Come on. Just a little bit. Just give me one kneecap. Give me one. I'll take one. I'll take just one, okay? Okay? Just one. That's all I need. Please. I don't want to be short. Please. Please. This is the worst. It's so bad down here. This is where all the farts are. This is where all the farts are. Okay, chat. Thank you. We're just gonna have to. Well, I mean, I'm tall now, but it's kind of a little unbalanced here. Can I have the other one, please? Like, just, please. I don't. It's gonna be really awkward to be like this all day. Thank you. Okay. Okay, that's better. That's better. That works. Okay. Thank you, chat. I appreciate it. Oh, sorry, I muted myself. What were we doing? What do you call a former lover of the male employee? Oh, hi. Hi there. How tall are you? I'm 6'4". What do you call the former lover of a male? I don't know. What do you call him? Is it something good? FedEx. That's good. That one's good. Okay, lovely. So today, I have the best humor, chat. Fight me. Quick question: does chat have a name? Yes, chat does have a name. I'm officially naming chat the Menagerie. Chat's the Menagerie now. This does not help my furry accusations, but chat is now the Menagerie. Because y'all a bunch of animals. So now you're a bunch of exotic, crazy animals. So you're the Menagerie now. By the way, for those who are asking, the Menagerie. Doesn't it sound good? Isn't that such a lovely word? The Menagerie. Exactly. And humans are animals too, chat. Menagerie. Yes, you can be. You can be whatever you want to be. A lovely, lovely ladybug, a butterfly, a red panda, or a human like me. Chat, you can be just like me, a guy, a person. I'm a human. See? You see these ears? Human ears. Both sides. That's how I can hear things so good. Oh, shit. Got too tall. This must be what you guys normally look at, right? You just see chests of everybody. God, no wonder you're all autistic. Y'all can't even see the eyes. Huh? Oh, sorry. It's fine. I'm not a furry, chat. I'm not a furry. Okay. All I heard was bark, bark, whimper, growl, bark, bark. Dyeing my hair with Sharpies. What my mom said. Do not do that. Do not do that. They are not non-toxic. Do not use Sharpies. This is the community. Vanya, you know what they're called. Who are they? Homestuck. This is Homestuck all over again. Do not dye with Sharpies. If you're going to dye with anything, use Kool-Aid. Kool-Aid powder will dye your hair. Kool-Aid powder will dye your hair. Use Kool-Aid powder. Kool-Aid powder will dye your hair a lot better than Sharpies will. Use Kool-Aid powder. It is like a few cents. You can get crazy random colors with it. All you have to do is put it in your hair, let it sit with the thing, get it wet. The dye will infuse into your hair. If you're broke and you need something like that, no Sharpies. Kool-Aid powder, please. It's a few cents. I'll buy it for you. Okay, just no toxic dyes. Sorry. Okay, Crucified. Can you say? Oh no. Okay. Chat, I just needed to say that I, your faithful puppy, am a bad boy. I deserve to be punished. If anyone wants to punish me, I deserve it and will take the punishment. Go ahead. Do what I deserve. Punish this bad puppy. There's so many bad puppies. Say in a deep voice. It's too late for me to say it in a deep voice now. This very bad puppy. Please, chat. I secretly love it, and I love all of you. And yes, I'm a puppy, not a human, and I love Big Macs. Yeah. No. Refused. Lies and slander. All of you. I'm watching you. Just watching you, chat. I'm watching you. I will say anything with enough. Vanya, you're not allowed to leave. Please stay, Vanya. Don't go. Okay. Also, I just need to eat a little burger real quick. So if you don't like the burger sound, just go. Oh. I don't care what your friends do, Sweet Pecan. If your friend jumps off a bridge, are you going to jump off too? Huh? No. Kool-Aid is better. It's cheaper. Just because your friend gets brain damage because they have toxic fumes and everything else in their skull doesn't mean you should. Behave yourself. Okay, chat. Anyways, Red Dead. Today we're Red Deading. Are we all ready for Red Dead? I think we're Red Deading. Can somebody check the schedule to make sure we're Red Deading and that I did not plan the stream properly? Like I want to make sure that we're actually Red Deading and I'm not just making things up right now. I'm going to hold my breath until somebody checks it. You ready? 3, 2, 1. Okay. Hi. Oh. Thank you for checking. I was being. Oh, Carlos, I'm so sorry. To be fair, chat, I could not see the chat because I had my eyes closed. So I realized halfway through my problem. Chat, I have amazing lung capacity. Watch this. But yeah. Sorry, Chad, I've been practicing. No, yeah. Listen. I've been practicing my breathing techniques for singing. I can hold my breath for a very long time, and that was not even a struggle. I could probably have gone maybe at least half that more. I've been doing the diaphragm stretches. Do you know how to do you know how to do diaphragm stretches, chat? Wait, let's do it together. Okay. Come here. You ready? Do you know what snake breaths are? Do you know what snake breaths are, chat? So we're going to sit up straight. Well, yeah, because I haven't recovered my air since I was holding my breath. Because I'm talking too much and I'm too excited. Okay, sit up straight. Hands and like right above your belly button. Put them there. And then you're going to inhale sharply, like that, like a snake. But you're going to do it 4 times. Go. And then out 4 times. Like that. And you do that repeatedly. And then once you do it about 4 times, you do it 3 times, and then 2 times, and then 1 time. With, that being the amount. Instead, instead of doing 4 inhales, you do 3 inhales, or 2 inhales, and then 1 inhale. And that's how you practice diaphragm stretching. You're scaring me. I'm sorry I'm scaring you, okay? I will not kill myself on stream. I will wait until after. No, I'm kidding. I'm not going to do that, chat. I enjoy streaming too much. Thank you, I Echo Infernal. Well, it takes practice. And you want to feel like when you're pushing it on the stomach, how your diaphragm goes, it goes. Yeah. Oh, you could have taught me that. Yes, Dizzy, but you didn't. And I went to a guy on Friday, and he taught me that, and he taught me some of the scales, and he taught me a bunch of other techniques. And guess what, chat? Guess what, chat? I'm amazing at breathing now. Not singing yet. But it's easier to sing when you do diaphragm and you don't expand the upper lung. Yes, the diaphragm spasming is what causes your hiccups. It's also what allows you to breathe. But if you breathe in through like your chest, it goes, and you fill up there, and then you have to push the air out. But if you fill up the diaphragm and you pull down with your diaphragm and your lungs fill up downward, it naturally wants to push out. And so you get a lot more power and consistency with your breathing. Am I the only person who, when they learn something, wants to teach every single person about that thing until everybody knows all the things I do? Because I'm absolutely obsessed with it. I'm so obsessed with teaching people anything I know. I know it gets annoying. My dad used to be like, Gene, please stop teaching people things. Like I don't want to care. I don't care. Because I'd always be like, hey, Dad, guess what? And he'd be like, I don't know. I don't fucking know. Gene, I just got home. And like, it's been a long day of work. And for some reason, whenever I get home, I need to fart a bunch. So I'm just going to release all my farts now. And he did. He would walk up the stairs releasing all his farts he saved up during the day. And he would refuse to, he didn't like hearing me say guess what all the time, which was sad. And I learned how to phrase it differently. I'd be like, hey, Dad, did you know blah, 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 blah. And then that worked for a while, and then he got annoyed. Link says hello. Tell Links I say hello, too. Okay, anyways. Well, why I say this to us? Because I like teaching you all things. It's just what I like to do. I mean, if you don't want to know the things I teach, then I won't teach you all. It's okay. We can just focus on the game. It's just fun. Let's focus on the game. I won't teach anybody anything. It's okay. Nix doesn't want to learn about how to breathe. Sad. Sad chat. No, it's okay, chat. I don't want to upset Neeks because Neeks doesn't want to. Neeks, don't go! No, Neeks, you're not allowed to leave. I'm sorry. You have to stay. I like being pouty. I wanted Neeks to feel bad so they would say sorry, but they didn't. They just left instead, and now I feel bad for making them feel bad. They outplayed me. I didn't. All I saw was question mark. No, you didn't apologize. You just said teach you not how to not fall in the shower. How about that? And then you made a pouty face at me. Your response was just, Gene, don't fall in the shower, you idiot. Maybe learn that. No, but it's okay. Dazzy, I did read your fun fact, but I was in the middle of the bit, and I couldn't stop doing the bit. Fun fact, did you know that you eat dairy before you start singing clogs up your sinuses? The only reason was that a gunshot? Oh, I'm loading Red Dead. We're fine. Okay. I tried deep frying food. How the fuck is food still cold? No, Aura, I don't have time to teach you about deep frying right now. Oh, fine. Okay. Aura, how hot is the oil? Do you have a temperature gauge on it? Mwah, Miss Uniques. Hi, Siren. How you doing? Do you have a temperature gauge on the oil? Do you know how hot the oil is? And was your food all the way defrosted all the way through before you put it into the oil? Or was it not defrosted yet? Oh, Goth, I hope you do okay. I'm here. Wait, Crow, what'd you say? Oh, no, I hydrated for you already, Crow. I just didn't stretch. Okay, that's probably what the issue is. I would suggest throwing it into the oven, let it bake for a while if you need to cook it like a little bit longer. I can't comment how often I accidentally spilled the hot oil in oil baths. Then I wanted to make handmade fries. That was fun memory. Careful. Careful, 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 careful. Mwah. Okay. Neeks, I am sorry. I am sorry. 1 second, chat. I need to do something real quick. This is important. Oh, was the oil hot before you put it in the oil? Was the oil bubbling before you put the food into it? Oh, I was about to DM you and check if you're okay, because I did actually feel bad. And I want to make sure that you didn't feel bad and that what I did was mean. Okay. Vonnie, I apologize to you all the time. You also say I killed you. You said I murdered you. You said I've destroyed your everything and that I blew up the moon and that I ran over your dog and then I ate you. So Vonnie, there's only so much I can apologize for tonight. What don't come in the mood. It would terrify me if they did have teeth. If they had teeth, I would probably cry, chat. Honestly, if penguins had teeth, that would be the end of me. Forever. I would just be gone, chat. I would just not live anymore. I can't live in a world where penguins have teeth. I mean, but if they had, like, human teeth, you know? You just woke up. Nice. All right, chat. We're just gonna... Yeah, girl. Come here, girl.
So, we getting out of this hellhole?
We're gonna try. Weather seems stable.
And we just robbed a Leviticus Cornwall train.
We got money in our pockets. The worst is behind us, gentlemen. So the question is, where now?
I know this country a little. I told you, we should set up camp in Horseshoe Oval near Valentine. We'll be able to hide out there, no problem. As long as
your quirk.
Our noses clean.
Well, then let's
Oh
go.
no, so we've activated Silas's quirk.
Arthur,
One for Silas.
bring Jose.
One for nuns.
I know you two like to talk about the good old days and what's gone wrong with old Dutch.
Why does everybody want to leave? What did I do? What did I do, chat? One for nuns. Silas, I know your whole ass lore. Is the game too loud or is the game good, chat? Come here, Siren. I'll happily give you a hug. Oh. Yeah, I think holding my breath calmed me down too much. And now my energy's... Oh, it's a little bit loud? Okay, we'll turn it down a little bit. My
Lenny! Micah, get over here!
holding my breath calmed me down too much, and I'm upset.
Make sure there's no surprises.
Maybe a little louder? Damn it! What do you mean a little bit louder?
Just go.
Come on, kid. You can buy me a whiskey.
There we go. That should be good. Feel like yelling to a pillow then. We're not even in the game yet. Give it time. Bye, Pecan. Be good. Don't dye your hair. Don't dye your hair with Sharpie, Pecan. Don't dye your hair with Sharpie. Don't dye your hair with Sharpie. Don't dye your hair with... Don't dye your hair with Sharpie.
Get up there. Let's stick tight.
Idiot.
Don't do it. Venus, stop encouraging it. Look up the Homestuck people who got sick because they used Sharpie to dye their skin.
Get us out the street.
All right.
Gotta keep us moving, but calm.
Ah, shit.
You are my favorite Incubus. I will say that much.
You all right back
I
there?
guarantee you
Everything
are my favorite
all right?
Incubus.
Well, what's going on?
And I do know more than one Incubus. I do know more than one Incubus. You are my favorite Incubus.
I reckon we can handle it.
Hi, Crow. Pew, 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 pew. With money? Wait, can you actually, like, I wonder if you could dye your hair with money.
Just saying.
You could probably, like, you know, you could just... Yeah, no, it could happen. It could definitely happen.
Pick the wheel up.
Blend it. Put your money in a blender. No. I said he's my favorite Incubus. I have an Incubus I hate, chat. And so, but with that understanding, out of all the Incubuses I know,
This is after all.
Not quite.
Crow, you've existed this entire time. I've talked to you a few times. You didn't respond to me. I even hydrated for you. I did. I even said I hydrated for you.
If they wanted trouble, we wouldn't have seen them.
Poor bastards.
I did.
Really screwed
I
them
did.
over
Go back
down
and clip
here.
it.
Come on, let's not push our luck.
What happened?
Well, get in. I'll tell you.
Yeah, chat, just wait until the video is over. Then you can kill me. Give it time. Exit vehicle. Any vehicle, throw him out of vehicle will work right now because this is a vehicle.
Follow the river.
Not a horse, chat. This doesn't count as a horse, it counts as a vehicle. It's different.
So, yes, the Indians in these parts got sold a very raw deal. This is the heartlands we're going to. Good farming and grazing country. They lost it all. Stolen clean away from them it was, every blade of grass.
Thank you for the follow, Ivan. How you doing? Welcome.
In the middle of nowhere.
Oh, wait, we gotta roll this. 1 second.
How's that different from anywhere else?
Well, maybe it's not.
Thank you for the redeem. Greatly appreciated. I don't hate anybody. Kallist. Kallist, are you okay, by the way? Did you hurt yourself with a plate?
Unpleasant.
I'm actually a little worried about you, but please tell me you like put ice on it or something. Snow. Hello, Snow. Thanks, by the way.
I fear I was perhaps trying to simplify something more complicated for the benefit of our block-headed driver here.
Hey, don't blame it on me. Never forget, this here's a con man, Charles, born and bred. Just 'cause it sounds fancy don't mean he knows a damn thing about what he's talking about. Yep. So,
Oh, you're good, Echo.
your tribe.
I don't even know if I have one. Just not that I can
Nix, there is an overlay as well that you can use. That is, it has the coins like we did last time. Are you eating fish, food, trout? No.
When we were forced to move from our lands, the three of us fled.
Well, it doesn't look like it's working. Is it saying something?
Much. All life I've been on the run.
Here, give me a second. I'll restart the session.
A couple years later, some soldiers captured my mother. Took her somewhere. We never saw her again.
Okay.
We drifted around. It was a very sad
You also might want to wait until the video's over.
hold on him.
Because we're still in, like, intro sequence.
I just took off on my own.
There's a
That was
VTuber
about
who
the
collects
age
pop
we found
sounds.
Martha here. Maybe a little older. A wilder delinquent you never did see. But he learned fast.
Not as fast as Marston, apparently.
Wait, I don't understand.
I'm trying, chat. I'm working. If I can get there, I will get there, okay? At least I have a pop redeem. Should I get a pop redeem, chat? Wait, okay. I need something to write this down for me. We need a pop redeem. Apparently we need a mumbling redeem because somebody likes that for some reason. I don't know why they want that. We need a sniffing redeem. Yeah.
Direction on our desperate escape from the law eastwards down the mountain. Yes, I believe so.
You know this area?
A little.
Oh God! What the fuck is that? Who drops a horse? Who drops a horse on a man? You okay, buddy? Oh, that's a big
They're all waiting on us, Arthur.
That was not a she.
What was I talking about?
That was not a
There's
she, chat.
town not too far from here called Valentine.
Why is he Sir.
Cowboys, outlaws,
Sir, sit down.
American girls. Our kind of place.
Crow, what do you need help with?
Probably them too.
Sit down.
Pinkertons.
Sir, sit down.
Hope not.
And this place we're
Sir, sit
going-
down.
Wait, what's it called again?
Horseshoe Overlook.
It's a good place to lie low.
It'll do for now. And how low do you think Dutch is really going to lie?
Let me get through this video sequence, Crow, and I will walk you through it legitimately.
Maybe it's me who's changed, not him. But
He's standing there.
we kept telling him that
menacingly.
didn't feel right.
You know what? No. Let's stop here real quick. Crow. You moved everything in the basement out of an ADD episode, right? You now have all this space that is now empty of stuff. If you've emptied everything, you should now have space to organize. You're going to start picking the spaces that you want to fill. So let's say if you have a laundry door or you have like all your all your books or whatever. So you're gonna specifically only grab those items so that you can fill up those spaces. Let's say you have a bookshelf, you're gonna go down, you're gonna grab all the books and you're gonna put those across the shelf. Then you're gonna move on to the next one. You're gonna pick another drawer and you know what goes in that drawer. And you're gonna go down and grab all that stuff and put it in that space. Okay? And you're gonna work through it slowly, drawer by drawer, space by space. So while you're filling it, it's gonna be organized and you don't have to do this whole like 2-step process. Take the stuff directly, only the stuff you need from the drawer. Don't take all of it back. 2 fridges, a bed. What do you mean 2 fridges? What did you, how? No, but why was that all in your room? And why did you take that stuff out? How is that an 80, huh? Well, put it back. Why was there a deer meat fridge in your room? We gotta play this game. Yeah, you keep typing, and eventually it'll make sense to me. But until then,
Isn't like Dutch to lose his head like that.
okay,
Go wrong sometimes.
okay, but like, okay.
People die.
I mean,
It's the way it is. Always.
is it okay in the basement? Like, does it need to be in your room?
You, Dutch. We've all been in this
It,
line
oh, fuck.
Great, Arthur. And we're still here, so
You want me to drive?
I figure we must have got it right a hell of a lot more than we got it wrong. What are you working on there, anyway?
Just some yarrow and ginseng.
I am so glad the video took over. I didn't know how I was gonna get out of it. The horse was in was in it. The horse was in
At
it.
the point where I can do it with my eyes closed.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
It's getting worse. It's getting worse. Yeah, no, leave it where it is. If it's plugged in, you can leave it. We'll work on this tomorrow. You'll take what you can. What the fuck? This is a tomorrow problem. Oh yeah, see if you can get a dolly or get a friend with a strap. Not that kind of strap. Not that kind of strap. I forgot what my audience is like. I forgot what audience I have. I don't think launching player is going to work because I'm currently stuck in, but you can do eject vehicle first.
Thanks.
Hey, slow up. I'll jump on.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. Was this Crow? Were you just feeling like overwhelmed? Was that what it was? Cause yeah, good way to like kind of center yourself. First off, holding your breath. So inhale, hold it as long as you can, and then you're gonna exhale, and then you're gonna do it again. Inhale as deep. Inhale as deep as you can. Hold it as long as you can, and then exhale. You're gonna activate your parasympathetic system, which is going to put you out of fight or flight mode and bring you back into your normal brain mode. That's fine. You have time. Why can't I move, chat?
Okay, let's go.
Chat, why? There we go. Okay.
Any trouble getting in here, Javier?
Nope. Went well. This is a good spot.
Excellent.
Well,
Think this
then
will
do
work
it.
for us, Arthur. For now, anyway.
Do it about 3 times should be enough.
Look out! Take it easy.
You want to get back on?
Hey, you son of a bitch.
I'm sure that's fine, chat. I'm sure that's fine. We don't need him. It'll be fine, chat. He'll figure it out. We're not that far from home. He's got this.
You weren't wrong, Hosea. Perfect.
I hope so.
Gentlemen,
Oh, I got you. Okay, I understand you, Crow.
prosper.
Arthur and I were about to prosper in Black.
Yeah.
We were onto something big. Then Micah
Aw.
got all excited about that ferry, and here we are.
We have all made mistakes over the years, Hosea. Every last one of us. But I kept us together. Kept us alive. Kept the nooses off our neck.
I guess I'm just worried. I ain't got that long, Dutch. I want folks safe before I go.
Me too.
And now we are stuck east of the Grizzlies and out of money, and a long way from our dream of virgin land in the west.
I know, my brother. But we are
Virgin
safe.
land,
Making
chat.
money here.
We be
Then we
fucking
move
the
down,
land.
out
Sorry.
around them,
Sorry.
west of
Sorry.
Uncle
Sorry.
Sam, in a
Sorry.
few
That was
months,
sorry.
buy some land.
Sorry.
I hope so.
Sorry.
Would you
Sorry.
just look around you?
Sorry. Sorry.
This world
sorry.
has its
I'm sorry.
consequences.
Gentlemen, I'm going to
I'm
head
sorry.
to the local town and, see if I can strike up a little business.
Of course, Herr Strauss. I prefer robbing banks to usury. Seems more dignified somehow. Now, everyone, put your tools down for a moment. Come on, gather round. Quickly now. I know that things have been tough, but we are safe now, and we are far too poor. So it is time for everyone to get to work.
Praise is on
Get to
cooldown.
work, but stay out of trouble. Remember, we are itinerant workers.
Laid off when they shut down our factory to the north.
What do you mean I made
Get
Vanya
out
leave
there
forever?
And see what you can find. Uncle, Reverend Swanson. No
What do you mean
more
I made Vanya
passing.
leave forever?
It is time for everyone
Wait.
to earn their keep.
There is a town a little way down the track named Valentine. Livestock town, all mud and morons, if I remember right. That seems a decent place to start.
And, we need food. Real food. That means every day. One of you.
And remember,
What's Vanya's name in
whatever
here?
it is that you find, the camp gets its slice.
It's Violet
Now be
Loon
sensible
underscore,
out
right?
Now the girls have your tent.
Well,
ready.
they're remodded if they unmodded.
You two will be ready.
Okay, bet.
We put
Nice.
you over here.
I'm sure everything will be fine, Miss Grimshaw.
It should be. Most of your stuff from Blackwater got saved.
Everything apart from my money.
Oh, don't remind me.
We can always make
Okay.
money.
We're gonna have to. Miss Jackson, I've seen shit.
Why?
If you do it properly.
Vanya, I can't help you right now. I will come and apologize and be sweet and cute later after stream, but I can't right now. Lies, chat, lies. I have to focus on making content. I have a scab on my chin that's pissing me off. I'm sorry to hear that. Tell me why ain't nothing but heartbreak.
Got off the mountain.
Shiny, wait until all the videos and shit ends. You'll know when it is.
This far east in many a year. Dutch seems a little better. His eyes are sparkling once more, and I can see he's thinking.
It ain't gonna work.
I think we all feel a little happier.
Bracketing my charger and then restarted the ads. I'm gonna make myself go great.
Arthur?
Same thing. Inhale.
Quite a day.
Hold it.
Let's hope so.
Hold it as long as you can. And then exhale. You want to get it as deep as you can breathe. Inhale. Hold as long as you can. And then exhale. You can also do circle breathing.
Strauss came back with that creepy little smile on his face. I'm sure there's a whole list of unfortunates he's forced money upon.
Thank you.
So you can, if you want to do circle breathing or box breathing, yeah, you can inhale through your nose. Just go. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Also, I think somebody sent me a breathing technique at some point that I need to take a look at.
Oh, Arthur, my boy. My dear boy. What's going on? Nothing.
But yeah, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. Kyle, let's take your time. You got this. What's your health right now, Gene? Oh god, now this fucking. Who shot them? Oh my god, chat. Oh my god, all of them are beat. Wow.
I think we're clear.
Huh? What happened? I died? I didn't die. There was no death. Jesus.
Damn it.
Thank you. Ocean. What did I do to piss off Ocean today? All right, chat. I really like hunting in this game. It's a lot of fun. Pomo. I did stream this morning. What do you mean, Retro? Hi, Pomo. Hello, Pomo. Oh, no way, Pomo just won. Pomo, remind me next month and I'll gift you a free sub. You get a free sub this month. Hello, Raiders. I feel like you're always live. No, I stream from 5:30 to 3:30 a.m. MST to 5:30. Hello, and welcome to the menagerie. Welcome to the menagerie. My name is LuckyJene. I'm a gambler, a writer, a flirt, and soon to be a villain. But how's everybody doing? Welcome. What were you doing? We're gonna take a little look. To see what you were doing. I was gonna shout out. Palm. Music. Matey. You were doing ASMR. And you came into here. Pomo, sweetie, I'm gonna wake everybody up. But what kind of ASMR were you doing? I feel awful for being that excited immediately when they came in.
Please don't hurt me.
But hello, lovely people. We are doing crowd controlled Red Dead, so I apologize. It will not be relaxed. Good luck. Yeah. Anyways, if y'all need to leave because you're afraid, please feel free to do so. Shrimp 24/7 should be on. I was singing Loud Valkyrie style. Don't worry. Yeah. Okay, Melly. I'm glad. Because ASMR just right. Oh, fuck, a snake. Why is there a fucking snake? Who brought out a snake? Was that just there? Thank you for the follow, James Lancelot. How you doing? How you doing? What the fuck was... Why was there a snake? Well, then I got this. One fine morning, my dear Patterson. Bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. What am I doing? Oh. Pomo, if you need a raid to run, please feel free to do so. Everybody go check out Pomo. They're lovely, they're lovely, they're lovely. Their name means tomato. Their name means tomato, chat. Did you know that? They're a tomato, chat. They're little... You squish them. If you squeeze them too hard, all over the place. Where's my horse? There it is. Not again. Not again. No, don't punch the horse. Help. Help. Ah. God damn. No, 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 no. Horse. I'm trying not to kill people. I refuse to heal. Okay, I'm gonna start cleaning. Start my room until I get energy to clean it. I believe in you, Mox. You got this. Chat, do you know what's happening? You keep summoning people too close to camp, and so it keeps doing this because enemies were brought back to camp, and so it's making everything fail every time. So I need to leave camp. Don't kill the NPCs. Not yet. You gonna squish me too hard? Don't squish me too hard. Okay, come on, horse. Come on, horse. We gotta get out of here. We gotta get out of here before for the. We're good. Okay. We made a chat. All right, I'm safe. Anyways, how was stream, Palmer? Did you have a good time? Thank you for the call, Chris. Welcome, welcome, welcome. By the way, lovely, lovely, lovely raiders. I do ASMR as well, but that is don't agitate my horse. Specifically, my brain in the morning. Who's screaming? Why is this man angry? Interesting. Pizza still tastes okay despite the minor burn? Okay, well, I hope you're okay. God, you know what? I have never ridden a hot air balloon before. And oh, well, I didn't mean it like that. I wanted to be in the Okay, we're fine. It's fine. Oh, Carlos, that's okay. You'll be all right. I believe in you, okay? I did. How do I use this thing? Excuse me. Apparently I don't. Interesting. I think it's broken, chat. Chat, you broke it. It's not rideable? It's not, it just spawns a stupid air balloon. Why? Why would they give me an air balloon? Hey, Zeus. Calm down, Zeus. Carlos didn't redeem praise. Carlos has not redeemed praise yet. Oh, you didn't tell me Pink redeemed it for you. Carlos, lovely. Carlos, sweetie. You are very, very kind and sweet and very adorable. I do really, really appreciate you. You are so lovely. And honestly, you're just a fantastic member of this community. You've brought such great energy here all the time, and I hope that I'm able to give back even a little bit of what you've brought here. Honestly. Thank you so much for being the person you are. Even when you burn yourself trying to deal with a pizza. But I'm very proud of you for handling it and getting through it. We're here for you. Mwah. Thank you so much, Ghost. And thank you for the redeem. Did y'all hurt me again? Okay.
Hell is your problem? Hey there, pal. Can you help me?
Yeah, what do you need, buddy?
Could use some help finding my way home.
Huh.
Kids are tales.
Okay.
I live in front of the saloon next
Okay.
to the freight station.
Alright.
Do you know if I'm heading in the right direction?
Yeah?
Sure. Just head over that way. You'll get home fine.
Thank
How dude. Shit. Phew. I mean, he's not gonna need it now, I guess. Oh, that's fine. Well, I was doing a good deed. He just happened to die. It happens sometimes. Jesus. Okay, well. Oh, yeah, look, someone's building something. Ain't that cool? He also. Oh. Huh. Well, I think he was building something. It's just whatever. I'm sure it's fine, chat. I'm sure it's fine. This ain't no problem. Thank you for the follow. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing?
Oh, Arthur, come here. Come over here. I want you to meet our
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I really appreciate it.
Why
Y'all
you
give a video a second to play. It's not gonna work during the video.
You be quiet, Anastasia. Anyone can tell this one is a pussy cat.
Exactly. Yes, he's a pussy cat. Ain't that so, Arthur?
Whatever you say. How much you cost?
Wait a second. What does that mean?
Is that a nice way to talk to a lady?
Oh,
What does that
I didn't
mean,
know
chat?
I was talking to a lady.
Chat, what does it mean to be a pussycat? Arthur! You're scaring the huzz!
You gotta find way with the women, amigo.
Arthur, stop scaring the huzz!
Indiana charm. Where's Bill?
Oh, man. I dread
Wow.
to think about it.
Wow.
There he is.
Watch where you're going. Take it easy,
about to
pal.
kiss
Arthur.
that guy or punch him?
Come on, Arthur.
Oh, and we have our answer.
Wait, what? We fighting? We're fighting? Okay, we're fighting. We're fighting. No, chat, don't give them reinforcements! I can't fight women! Why are you reinforcing them?
Te voy a romper la cara, cabrón.
Oh god, I have to beat up a bunch of women. Okay, well, I don't want to kill a woman, but it looks like I don't have much of an option. Oh, I like that. Don't freeze me! Oh, come on! Ah. Stop touching their titties, Arthur! I'm glad that they're staying lined up. God. No, don't add more to them! Okay, okay. No, turn around, Arthur! Turn around, Arthur! 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 Hit the woman behind you! No, not the one in front of you! Okay. Jesus, Jesus! Oh god, oh god! Why does she have such... She keeps hitting me in the stomach! No! Okay, down. How am I ever gonna fight these allegations? We're taking a round. No! No! Oh, shit. Okay. Let's try that again, chat. Crow, you're doing a great job. Oh, come here, Gibbets. Mwah. There's too many people here, no shit.
Watch where you're going. Take it
Are you
easy,
about to
pal.
kiss that guy or punch him?
Oh, and we have
Oh no, there's more. There's more. I wonder if you keep adding them, if they'll just fill up the room eventually. Woman, please move. Woman, lady. Go. Why is there a... Peter, the horse is here. Peter, the horse is here. Can you move? Okay. How is he standing on them? Oh, look, his legs. Chad, his legs. Chad, his legs. Oh, God, what is wrong with him? What am I looking at? Oh, I guess. Oh. He's trying to... There we go. There we go. All right, we did it, chat. Oh. 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 Oh, no. Oh, no. He's not okay. Thank you for some. Thank you. He is not a... Oh, sorry, I gotta hit people, apparently. Where'd they go? I appreciate it. It was mixed with a corgi. Who would do that? Who would do that horrible, horrible thing to that? He's in the ceiling, chat. He's just there now. He's... Thank you. Where is the horse going? Oh. No. She can call me whatever she wants. I don't take it personally. Okay. Alright, how do I block? Chat, teach me how to block. Oh, R to block. Got it. Hey, thank you for the follow. Thank you for the follow. What's up? Welcome. Can she call you daddy? Oh my. Oh. Hello? I mean, I ain't gonna argue. What'd you redeem? Neeks, what did you redeem? No, I flew. Did you not see my... I flew for... I went up for like 3 feet. I went up for 3 feet. Pausing did not stop it. It's just not good. See, he bounces a little bit, but I'm currently in a... Don't add an ambush! I don't want to fight these women! Stop making me fight women! Ah! Oh, yeah, it works. Thank you. Oh, God, they're all hitting me. Oh, he's hitting the women now. Everybody's hitting each... That went south very quickly, chat. That went south so fast. Womp womp. Oh, wow. Mine's dead. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you're using it. Not gonna say that. Not gonna say it. I'm behaving myself, chat. I'm behaving myself.
You can't be the best this town has done. Yeah, I got this son of a bitch.
Ow, bad gene. I know that would have been. Get him up, get him down. Pack it. No, not again! Carlos, thank you for this. Thank you for the lurks. Thank you for the lurks. Your mama is cool. Stop making them try to kill me.
Put his face in the mud. You must be the village idiot.
God. Okay. Okay. I can't kill them, chat. Don't give me a weapon. Fuck. No, hey. Okay. All right, we're fine.
You're even slower than you. Okay. What you scared?
Every time I get a combo in, one of the ladies interrupts. There we go. There we go. Okay.
Making a real fool of yourself.
Come on, come on, come on. Come on, come on. Break free, break free, break free. No. Come on, 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 come on. Ah, there we go. There's still 2 women, by the way, chat. All right, we're gonna try not to kill him. Hey! Come on! I had to fight so many women. So many women. That's insane. That is absolutely insane. All right. There we go. This time we got this, chat. Look how skilled I am. No. Ain't working. Ain't working. You ain't got this. You ain't got this. You ain't got nothing. You ain't got nothing. I saw something load over there. Come on, 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 come on. You spent all your money. You're good. You'll get more, I swear. Why am I drunk? Chat, I'm going off sound alone. I'm going off sound alone, chat. They're all dead. That one exploded. That one exploded, chat.
Hey, come on, stop that! Stop! Stop! Please! Please!
All right.
Stop! Come, sir. You won the fight already. Surely that's enough.
What business is it of you?
Ah, we did it, chat.
No business, sir, but please.
You imagine I have a Patreon. A Patreon for what? Audios? ASMRs? I might make one. I might. But not yet.
Making new friends again, I see, Arthur.
Hi, cat. What kind of audios would I do? What kind of audios would I do if I were to have a Patreon?
The very same. Well, I thought you'd gone to New York.
And
We did it. We did it.
this glamour.
Feet pics? Not doing it. Dancing? No.
No way.
Well, quite well indeed. I went to Blackwater looking for you gentlemen. You're not very popular there, it seems.
Would we survive a Patreon?
Ah, Javier.
One fine morning, I was awakened.
And Bill, looking as well as can be.
Bella Ciao. Paul picks because he's a furry. Does your mom want a sub? I will. If your mom makes an account, I will gift her a sub right now.
Sean, you found him.
Yes, I have.
One fine morning, I was awakened. Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao, Ciao, Ciao.
But there's talk of them.
La da 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 da. It totally. Patreon allows 18 plus. It's just very particular on the 18 plus.
Well, then we're dead men.
I should know. I have seen the 18 plus on Patreon right now.
If he's alive, we gotta try.
Of course. It's you they want, Dutch.
Always is.
You're being called by Bella Ciao?
Charles, go find out what you can, carefully. Zion, take Javier.
Yes, you know the children with credit cards.
Go get yourself cleaned
The
up.
children with
Join
credit
them when
cards.
you're ready.
What about me?
One fine morning, I was awakened. Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao, 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 da 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 da. What's up, girl? What's the question? What do you have? No, 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 no. Wait, what, really? Well. Blips indicate. Oh, I'm so good at English chat. I'm so good at English chat. I'm the best. Why are they snatching our parents' credit? Chat, did you? It looks like heal is a partial heal. I think there's a full heal that does a different one. Chat, I need to ask you. Have you ever stolen your parents' credit card when you were younger? And if you did steal your parents' credit card, what did you use it on? I do not. You ever done that? Tyga, you stole your mom's credit card? I can't believe you did that. You would steal your mother's credit card and you still currently have it? That's insane. Where'd you put it? Did your mom hear that? Did your mother hear that? My parents were poor, they didn't have credit cards. Just because your parents are poor does not mean they didn't have credit cards. That means that they were smart and poor. I stole my father's credit card. And I used it to sign up for RuneScape Premium. I became a member for a month before my parents figured out.
Hey, move it!
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Well, they're dead. Hope they weren't burnt.
Careful. Ain't nobody got a heart.
I mean, I used to like regularly take coins from my.
Hungry here.
Oh, what's up, bud? I got you, sweetie. What do you need?
Hey, buddy.
What's up?
I'm too
You
old
okay?
to get a job, mister. Way too old. Can't we be friends?
Bella. Oh, yeah. What are we doing? Yeah, we're friends.
Sure.
I'm so happy.
Chat, don't hurt him. He's a good boy. He's a good boy. We're not hurting him. Don't hurt him. He's a good boy.
My last friend died. Weren't my fault.
We're protecting this one.
But they was
Do not hurt him.
It's fun being
Mwah.
with you, mister. Can I hold you a second, mister? Can I?
Okay. Yes, you can. Oh. Can I hold you for a second, mister?
Okay, just quickly.
God said no.
That felt good. It's nice to be held sometimes. Oh, we used to hold each other in the war.
Would you?
You got sad eyes, mister. Like you
I'm
see sad things.
No! 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 Live! Live! Oh, he was such a good guy. I'll miss him. Anyways, I'm just gonna see what you had on you real quick. It's fine, don't worry about it. Alright. Bye, I'll miss you. You killed him. You also just killed a fucking horse. Jesus. Horse is fine. Horse is fine. Bad aura. I will not say anything freaky to your mom. I promise I will not say anything. Where the fuck am I going? Alright, how am I going to survive this one, chat? I'm alive. Hey, look at that. Alright, alright. So your mom is in here too? Where is it? It's fine, it's fine. I'll behave, I'll behave. No, 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 no. The fuck is... Hi, Foxy Pop-Tarts. Roxy Pop-Tarts. Not Foxy. What is up? Thank you so much for the follow. Greatly, 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 greatly appreciate it. Mwah. Welcome to us up in Canada. Yeah, look out! Horse! Yes, Crow. The old man is fine. The old man is fine. I hope he comes back. I hope he comes back because that would really suck. I wish I could have marked him as immortal or something because it was so sad. He was like, "Can you hold me because I haven't been hugged before and I miss being hugged." And he's like, "Yeah, we used to hug each other during the war." And greedy, no, Collis, no, refund, Collis, refund, get refund, Collis. Collis don't need it. Collis has already been praised. Greedy. Why are you killing me? Fine. Collis. Even though you're greedy, you're still very sweet and adorable and very, very lovely. And I do appreciate you very much. You goofy little goober. As greedy as you are, you're still very wonderful and a lovely, lovely member of this community. So I do appreciate you very, very much. You're fine. That's sad. Yay! I'll happily be there on Sunday. I'll come by. What's up, Bora? You said wait, Gene. I'm waiting. Come on, Aura. 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 Come on, Aura. Yep, he's gone. He is gone forever, unfortunately. Yeah, I died since then. Oh, wow. Kitten whiskers. I'm not a cat. I'm not a cat. If I am an animal, I'm not a cat. It's not... No. I'm not a cat. I'm not a dog. But if I was an animal, I would be a dog. It's okay. Come here, Crow. You can hug me. We're also taking this horse. No. Mom called me a good boy. Not a dog. I'm riding a horse, chat. You can't fling me even if you wanted to. Get wrecked, nerds. Horse, turn. There we go. And do you not like praise, chat? Do you not like praise, chat? That's a Palomino. He is. Exactly, chat. If I say, oh, what a good chat you are. Look at you, such a good chat. Oh, you're doing so well. You know I love you all so very, very much. You're doing amazing, chat. You gonna dislike that? Thank you for the revolver. I appreciate that, Odin. I know you are. You can't launch me while I'm... Bunny. You're so silly, Bunny. Be a good little bunny. Behave yourself. Okay. We're going back to camp. Chat. Behave yourself. I need to go to camp to start a mission. Hi, Teddy! Don't throw this away. Don't. Okay, you can throw me all you want. Fuck. Hey! Just don't summon anything until I leave this area, okay?
Jose?
You want to go hunting?
What are you hunting?
Well...
Elephant?
I wish. No. I saw a huge bear.
Oh, we're hunting bear.
I ever saw. I reckon nearly 1,000 pounds.
My God. What, you need me to come?
Of course. Let's go.
Where are we heading exactly?
Up near the Dakota River. Might take a day or two.
I could do with it.
What do I get for sparing you an explosion? What do you want?
It's been a rough couple of weeks. You need anything?
I don't think so. I got all I need.
Let's go then. Oh,
That's valid. That's valid. That's 100% valid, Tiger's mom.
Miss her. She was quite a horse. This one's okay. Ain't no bullshit.
I've been meaning to offload this big Shire horse for a while now. Unruly
Yes, Palmo.
bastard.
What's
Where'd you
up?
get him?
Some big
I saw that.
loudmouth bastard tried to rob me. Was out riding.
All right,
so
Palmo, for your redeem as requested.
I see.
Let's take him
Bad,
to
bad.
Valentine. It's on the way.
Bad.
Sorta.
There you go.
There's a decent dealer there. We'll unload him. You can buy yourself a new horse. Put your saddle on them. Let's get going.
All right.
Okay. But I do kind of like this horse.
Oh, my. Look at this boy. Look at this boy. Oh,
I guess you're right.
look how big he is.
Won't take a minute, boy.
God, that is a gorgeous horse.
No, he's an angel. If I'm near him.
Nasty little look in his eyes.
Why do we have to get rid of him? I want to keep him. Look at him.
Easy, big feller.
All right, let's head into town.
Oh,
Lights, please. I heard about that.
I'll do my best.
We're heading out.
God, Chet, so. I used to teach kids how to ride horses, right?
Good range of horse tack at the Valentine
And
stables.
I worked at the YMCA camp.
To have a real nice one.
Yeah, what happened to that?
I worked at this Y.
Outside the
Tiger.
saloon in Deer Creek.
I remember now. Just about.
Crow.
That
Crow,
turned
sweetie.
into a long day.
I'll give you praise just as Ocean has requested and paid for.
Mac went crazy.
Crow, you're so not. Crow, you're so very, very kind and so sweet. And I'm sorry you got so overwhelmed today. You did amazing, though. You handled it very well. And things are going to get better for you, okay? Everything's going to be okay. I'm really, really proud of you for all that you're doing and for taking the time you need to rest, especially now while you're feeling sick. Take care of yourself, because I'd hate if anything ever happened to you. Be good, Crow, and continue being just as lovely as you are. Thank you so much for the redeem.
Threatened to kill the whole town. And Davey was
You did,
passed
Nix.
out
You
so
did.
cold
You spent
we
too much
left him
points.
there. Came back in the next day and he woke up
Okay,
and
so while they're
started
talking, I'm going to talk about a story. So yeah, I used to teach kids how to ride horses, and there was this.
I miss those boys.
Jenny too. She had
There
some
was this
spot that
horse named Ace,
Be pretty hard
and
on
it
me.
was pitch
Yeah,
black,
sweet on her.
and only the head wrangler was allowed to ride him, because Ace hated people and would only let her around. And even when she rode it, he was still always constantly twitchy and constantly full of some vicious energy. And it was always so interesting to see people try to approach Ace because he's sitting on the side, and they'd reach to try to pet him, and he would snap at them or he would kick, and it was just they're like, oh no, the horse is bad. It's like, no. We said don't go near Ace. You don't go near Ace.
a couple of leads I'm looking into.
God, I rode 2 horses. I rode, what was her name? Bessie. I loved Bessie. Bessie was so gorgeous. Oh no, I rode 3 horses. Bessie was gorgeous. Was a barrel racing horse, like specifically trained for that, and she was so adorable. Like she would, the smoothest ride I've ever had. And she was a Tennessee trotter. For those of you who have never been on a Tennessee trotter, they're taught a certain way to trot,
Buy yourself a
and
horse.
it is
Okay.
it
Go
is
out to the general store.
like
Get a few things to lure that bear out with.
amazing.
Meet you back here in a bit.
Amazing. So smooth. Not bouncy at all. Then I rode Tex. Chat, can you guess why he was called Tex? Oh no, don't. Sorry. I meant to talk to you. Come back. Stranger. Apparently people don't like it when you threaten them. No, he was called Tex because everything is bigger in Texas. That horse was half thoroughbred, half draft horse, all stupid. All stupid, chat. Like he was so clumsy and everything. He'd run you into a bush if you let him. But he was half draft horse, half thoroughbred. Massive man. And I rode him. And then the last one I rode was Sage. And Sage was a horse that was specifically taught for leg control. But you had to be careful because if you mistreated the horse even slightly and you didn't use the leg control, it would buck or kick. And the leg control was, you know, if you want to go faster, you squeeze in. You want to go left, you want to go right, you push in on one side and push in on the other side. I hear something. Oh, he's doing that. And so you could, like, not even have to put your hands on the horse and you could ride. It was great. So chat. Oh, there he is. Why are you scared and afraid? I do not have a buff horse for Shona. Why would I have a buff horse for Sona, chat? Who am I supposed to buy a horse from? What is going... Where'd my horse go? Insane. What horse am I buying? What horse? There's no one to buy a horse from. Oh, you have to ride the horse into the stable, chat.
Hey, how can I help you? I'm in the market for a new horse. Something strong and fast.
I'm not reading up.
You're in the right
I
place.
can't scroll up, unfortunately.
Got some beauties in at the moment.
You will have to copy and paste. You want me to read it or reply to it so I can see it?
And what about this one here? Yeah, you looking to sell? I show you. You got papers? No. No papers. Yeah, of course, that's going to affect what I can pay. But your luck's in. I got a fella who's been looking for a decent workhorse like this for a while.
That's fair.
He'll pay a good price. Otherwise, I can always stable him here for you.
You know, saying save a horse rider. Wow. 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 Hi, John. How you doing? No, we stable him. We stable him, chat. We stabling him. He's mine. I don't want to buy a horse. I don't want to buy a horse, chat. So we're buying a horse. Fine. All right, chat. I need to name the horse. What do we name the horse, chat? First name that I see in chat will be the name of this horse. What are we naming it? Mango? I like Mango. Mango's cute. Mango, 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 mango. Dreadlocked. We ain't dreadlocking a horse. Why Mango got such big balls, chat? Chat, I found his mangoes. All right.
All right, partner. You got yourself a deal. And a fine new horse. I hope so. Well, I don't sell
I do too.
anything other than good animals. You have my word on that.
It is pretty. Mango's pretty. Don't take my horse. It's my horse too. Both of them are my horses.
Here are your papers. And on me, a new grooming brush. And some treats. Appreciate it. Yeah. All right, you. You treat this fella well.
Hi, Ika. How you doing?
Look after you just fine.
Hi. All right, let's get on it.
Interesting choice. How much did you pay for that thing?
Not that much.
Okay, well, with some good care, you should be able to make something of it. All right, let's get going.
That is such a small horse, chat. I feel uncomfortable riding this horse. This horse feels so tiny. Can we get on a bigger horse? Please?
I just hope I can remember how to get there.
Back into the mountains.
It's so small.
But this time, we're doing the chasing. So how are things with you and John?
It's so small. Mango's mango sized. I mean, I guess, but like you're fine. Quit complaining. He's not. Look at him. Look how small he is. This is not a vehicle. This is a horse, chat.
I've spoken to him many times. He knows he did wrong. Just wants to put it behind him.
I'm sure he does. Running off on that kid is one thing, but there's a code. He knows that.
I don't know. I've seen some huge mangoes. Have you?
Pretty much raised him.
I know.
No, get some sleep.
It's done. Has been for a while now.
Tiger.
Nobody else would have been
He's such a
welcomed
bad little
back
bat.
that easy after that
Bad bat.
long. And
There you go.
know it.
Happy?
Maybe.
There's your team.
Please don't you put that to the test.
I never would.
Take the horse to pay and neigh. Freeze play is only gonna work if I'm not on the horse, chat. You're gonna have to eject me from a horse and then freeze me. Oh.
Okay. I think
Oh
we need to
my.
head right up here.
Bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, 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 do 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 do. I don't want you to waste your points. If you're gonna mess with me, you might as well do it right, okay? Like, I gotta make sure you all aren't struggling. La da da da, la da da da, la da 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 da, ba da da da, ba da 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 I will protect Mango as best I can. La da da, hello, Moreau. La da da da.
Maybe we should catch one to cook.
Sure. Try and shoot one.
We don't want to use anything too
What the
powerful on a
fuck?
small animal like that. Just ruin the meat. Best thing's a bow or a 22 caliber varmint rifle.
I have hunted rabbits before, you know.
Yes.
Una mattina mi sono alzato. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao. Bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Una mattina mi sono alzato. E ho trovato. I don't know how to pronounce that. No, da, da. Tried my hardest. Thank you for the follow. What are we doing? Oh, shoot. Do we have the varmint rifle? Thank you for the follow, Night Owl. How you doing? How you doing, Night Owl? Hopefully everything's going well. Shoulder, double barrel, unequipped, carbine repeater, Corona. Do we not have what we need? Lean Vazaro? Lean Va Zor. Lean Vazaro. Let's look at it later. Okay, I'm gonna be worried. I'm gonna be worried. Hunt the rabbit. Oh shit! Oh, we'll swap to a bow. Bow. No. No, no, no! I was right there! I could have killed him! I needed. Oh, fuck it. Oh god, chat. So brutal. Oh, partigiano, borta. I will have to look up that later. I don't want to mispronounce it. What the fuck? Take the meat! I was just gonna be fucking weird while I carried around. Why'd we skin it here? Just gonna have this exposed to the air all the time. That's not good. Poppies. What about poppies? I love poppies! Oh my god, there are poppies!
Getting late. Reckon we should camp here.
Sure.
Well, then you get it set up.
Chat, there's poppies. Do you know? Porta mi via.
Cook that rabbit then. They're delicious on an open fire like this.
Bella ciao, 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 partigiano. Porta mia, vice mi sento di morire. Da da da, na 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 na. All right, go soak it. Yes, poppies signify sleep and death, and they're used to make drugs, and they're used in remembrance. Oh, it is Bella Ciao. It is an anti-fascism song.
You want some of this?
No, I'm fine.
Thank you, John.
I
I appreciate it.
Okay. After all that.
I've been practicing. Yes, poppy is used in opium production. Poppy seeds are used in opium production, so if you eat a poppy seed bagel, you will show up as being hot for opiates. Na 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 na. But yeah, it's used in like different painkillers and stuff too. So yeah, if you're ever going for a drug test, chat, avoid poppy seeds of any kind. Okay? Yes. This is kind of chill though.
All right.
I like poppies.
Well, we better get some rest.
Opinions on when die Sonja Russisch tanzt? Wenn die Sonja Russisch tanzt. Opinions on when the... Sonja... I don't know what you're saying. Wasn't used to help people pass. Exactly. It was used for painkillers. It's used for passing. It's used for all sorts of things. Poppy is incredible for like a lot.
He better be worth all this drama.
Daisy, Daisy, give me your answer true. I'm half crazy all for the love of you.
Give me a minute.
Coffee?
It won't be a fancy marriage. I can't afford a carriage.
So, what's your plan?
Well, you'll see if we can track him, but we might need to lay bait to draw him out. Bears like fish, obviously, but they also
Chat, I am so dirty because of you, chat. Look how dirty he is.
Bait then shoot from the trees, but I prefer to hunt on the ground. More dangerous, but we'll have a much better chance of getting a good shot. And if he bolts, we can start right off after him. Can you mix up this bait for me while I finish packing this up? Fish, berries. Tie it up in that rag when you're done.
I hope you know what
What do you mean I made myself dirty, chat?
I grew up in the
You did it.
mountains, Arthur. I was virtually weaned up.
Daisy, give me your answer true. I'm half crazy all for the love of you. Won't be a fancy marriage. I can't afford a carriage.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, boy.
All right, back to it.
We'll try our luck down by the water. That's where I saw him last.
Okay.
How's that horse treating you?
Oh, hey, thanks for the new clothes, but they're still dirty. That's so dirty. Oh, sorry, Hosea. Hosea.
I was in this area with Bessie years ago.
Really? I didn't know that. I imagine you still miss her.
Every day.
Did you two ever think about getting out of the lot?
We did briefly. You don't remember?
I don't
you were still young.
want to set the world on fire.
She understood. She knew what I was.
I remember you not being around for a
Just
while.
want to
Things were
stop
looser back then.
blaming your
art.
I
You know that.
don't
But
want
Bessie and I
to
made
set
it work.
the world
you thinking
on
about getting out?
fire.
No, of course not.
Listen, if Dutch's grand plans work,
Mm-hmm.
and we can make enough money to go someplace new, really new, maybe we can all
I
get started.
lost all ambition
Anyway, for now, let's try
for
and chase ourselves a
worldly
bear, shall we?
acclaim. I just want to be the one you love. With your admission that you feel the same, I can be the one you're dreaming of. Believe me, I don't want to set the world on fire.
Any sign of him?
Get up and stretch? No, make me. Fine. All right, chat, we're going to take a quick little 5-minute here, if you're all okay with that. An ad's about to kick and start very, very soon. So we're going to take a little 5-minute break, and we'll be right back. Are y'all good with that? Because the ad's about to start in 36 seconds anyway, so it's good timing. I lost all ambition for worldly acclaim. Oh, you telling me a simp fried this rice? Chad, A simp fried this rice? Ain't no way a simp fried this rice. That's crazy. I can't believe a simp fried this rice. I don't want to set the world on fire. I just wanna... Actually, chat, so just to tell you all, I'll make a Google Doc. I'm not gonna make a Google Doc, but chat, I'm gonna make a Google Drive with references for the art. It'll be linked on Twitter, probably today or tomorrow. So if you are looking for references for any art, or if you're looking for if you all wanna head over to my Twitter, real LuckyJene. I will be posting a few things, just a few different like expressions or emotes and all that kind of stuff. All right, chat? It's gonna be great. So yeah, emotes, poses, that kind of thing. And then we're gonna have a section so that y'all can take them and use them for memes, whatever you want. All right? Wow. Good. All right, chat. Let's fucking do this shit. Let's get back on it. I don't want to set the world on fire. I just want to start a flame in your heart. I lost all ambition for worldly acclaim. I just want to be the one you love. And with your admission that you feel the same, I could be the one you're dreaming of, believe me. Anyways, back to normal. Stretching was good, chat. I appreciate that. Also, there you go. Caps lock to unlock. Okay, there's something there. I'm gonna have this stuck in my head forever, chat. It's never gonna leave. One fine morning, my dear partisan. Okay, what do you want me to look at, Jose? Thank you, Carmia. I hope I am always adorable. Okay, found a clue. I see the clue! It's big and it's yellow. What do you want me to do? Okay. There it goes, finally.
Hallmarks here, Hosea. They sure look big enough.
Good. Let's hope it's him.
What did I do that was adorable, though?
Tell which way he went. Keep your eyes on his trail so we don't lose it.
Stinky, chat. Stinky. Y'all are stinkies.
Tracks. Go into those trees.
La da 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 da. La da 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 da.
Something on the ground here.
Half-eaten fish here. Must have been left by our I reckon.
Well, I'm glad I have some cute features.
See if there's anything else.
I smell like rosemary and peppermint because I used rosemary and peppermint oil. Because it helps clear my sinuses. So I can breathe a bit better while streaming, because every once in a while my nose gets all stuffy. And it also makes any hair on the body look lovely.
Something else on the ground. Just here.
Take a look then.
There's shit here. Watch your step.
Looks real
Eat it.
fresh.
What?
Reckon he's got to be close.
It's crazy. Who'd say that? I also smell like pear and fuchsia, Fuchisa. I use colognes by Joe Malone, and they're lovely and they're incredible, and you should go try them. How does the hair thing work? Cologne? Oh no, I use oils.
Looks like it.
Fuchsia? There's no way that's how fuchsia is pronounced. There's no way that's how.
Real ends here. You lost him?
For now.
I mean, that's how that fuchsia is spelled like that?
What do you think?
No, that's fuchsia?
Split up and each look.
Either that or we could play.
Wait, but isn't that a color? Is it also a flower?
Which do you think?
Oh, Opie's bait.
Arthur?
Let's bait here.
Fine by me. Let's leave the bag over there.
I have never...
Boulders up ahead. Looks like a good
Versace.
spot for it.
Of course I know how to pronounce Versace. I have never seen the word fuchsia spelled out. I suppose. Versace? Why is it wrong? Sorry, is it Versace? Is it Versace? It's Versace, chat. No, it's actually Versac. Versac. It's Versac, chat. Versake. Versake. There we go. Versake.
Now we wait.
1,000 pounds, you say?
More or less. Big scar down his face.
Fuchsia flowers are either pink and purple and pink and white. What do they smell like?
Look okay to you?
I think so. You're the expert.
I'm gonna kick a puppy for its crimes?
You okay? You seem nervous.
So do you. I'm fine.
Don't kick me. Don't kick me.
Let's just take a look at that bait.
Why?
Sure.
Don't kick me. Please. Please don't.
We only
Please
just
don't
said
kick
it,
me.
Jose.
I know, but we need to do this right.
Yes. Okay, that's fair. So it does mention that the fuchsia is used more as like a binder for the scent. It's mostly pear blossoms. Wow, Neeks, you're awful. Throw up? Why don't throw up at me? Rude. Can't believe you. La da da da.
Easy.
Y'all deserve this. Get out of here, darling.
Over here, Arthur.
Where the... Man, you got this big ass gun and you ain't willing to do the fight. What's wrong with you?
Of course I'm fine. It's nothing.
You can't throw up on him? Why would you throw up on Gerard Way? Did Gerard Way get thrown up on?
That was fun.
You know what, Arthur Morgan, I'm a little old.
They say now teenagers scare the living shit out of me.
Man in a bar.
They could care less as long as someone who bleed. So darken your clothes or strike a violin pose. Maybe it'll leave you alone, but not me.
You saved my life, Arthur. I think I'm going back to camp.
Okay, well, I do not want to know that about Gerard Way. I'm good not knowing any more about that.
Track that monster. Well, you coming or not?
Let's go.
I'm coming with you.
Let's get going then.
No, why do you feel like that, Snow? What do you mean? They say now teenagers scare the living shit out of me. They can care less as long as someone will bleed. So darken your clothes or strike a violin pose. Maybe we'll leave you alone, but not me. Or is unbearable. I can't believe you made that joke. That's awful. That is awful. That is awful. Come on. Come on. Come on, Neeks.
We were just out scoping a lead. He doesn't need to know it was a big furry one. Well, thanks, Arthur. I probably owe you
Bye bye.
Don't worry about it.
I need to head
There
to
are
Denver
only so many
Ranch
things
to
that you can do
look
here.
into something.
See you later.
You dog. Doggone it. Doggone it. No, what's up, Kieran?
Come on, you brought me in. Help me.
You got some speaking to do of your own. Not that old gang of yours.
I said, I told you, I don't know nothing.
That's what I thought.
Whoa! Hold your horses there. It seems the cat has got our friend here's tongue. I was thinking Mr. Williamson could have a word.
You ready to talk, boy?
Sure you do.
I told all of you. I don't know nothing. They ain't no friends of mine. I just been ridden with them for a while.
Horseshit. You see, we heard that
I bet.
part, so how
Well,
about you
I'd
tell
love
the
to see
truth?
her. I'd love to see her.
Hurt him.
Tell her,
So
come
the
on
next
by.
time he opens his mouth, it is to tell us what is going on. Who am I kidding? One of O'Driscoll's boys couldn't open his mouth, but he'd tell a lie. Screw it. Let's just
Grab his dick and twist it.
Geld him.
Yeah.
Where's he going? Where's he going?
Oh, don't worry.
Aw.
Balls, boy. Just gonna cause you trouble. You know, in Imperial Rome, eunuchs was among the happiest and most loyal of courtiers.
No, you're kidding me, right?
Of course.
You sick bastards! Oh, what do you want from me?
Well, you are gonna talk. The only question is now or after we got these little fellas off.
Okay, listen. I know where O'Driscoll's holed up, and you're right. He don't like you any more than you like him. He's at 6 Point Cabin. I'll take you there. Serious. I don't like him.
Okay.
I mean, I like him even less than I like you. No offense.
Oh, none taken. Okay,
There we
then,
go.
partner.
Why don't you take
That
a
was
few of us up
insane.
there right now? I got this, Dutch. Should be fun. All right, you. Come on. Let's go. Let's both hope you ain't trying to trick us, O'Driscoll.
Do y'all ever know what? Do you know what a gelding is, by the way, chat?
Are you sure as shit?
Do you ever see a gelding and a stallion?
Bill, come here. We got a social call needs making. Where we headed?
Yeah, a gelding versus a stallion.
Well, I'll show you.
John, you take this little rattlesnake with you. Any nonsense, kill him.
Well,
You gotta pay your
we'll put it
buddies
this
our
way:
respects.
2 less mangoes. Yeah.
That's what he says. Come on.
I'm taking you to him. Look, I'll give you more directions when we're close. But if I know where we are, it's up past Valentine.
All right, I'll leave.
How many times I gotta say, I ain't an O'Driscoll.
You sure look like one, and
Oh! Exclamation point Discord. Discord.
you smell like.
Smell like one too. I smell like horse shit.
That's right. Boy, are you hot.
Morgan, you got throwing knives in your saddlebag. Dutch said you might. I was asked to give them, and I'm doing you the further courtesy of telling you about it.
Bye, Moss. You be
Next
good.
time you want to give me something, how about you give it to me instead of hiding it something?
Wait, so do I have throwing knives, chat? Oh, hell yeah.
Hoping the opportunity comes up to mention it.
Last goddamn favor I do.
Hey, if I got my bearings, it's over here.
Where are we going?
Yeah.
I got a
know this
bad feeling about
country.
this one,
Take
chat.
this
I got a
trek up through the
bad feeling
rocks.
about this. How much you want to bet there's not going to be anything there, right?
You didn't tell me what the O'Driscoll smelled like.
So many geldings, not enough stallions.
That's because you was
I mean, I think there's plenty of mares. I don't know about geldings, because if there's a single gelding here, I'd be very interested. I don't know what would happen there.
Me tied up there about as long.
You'd be smelling worse if we'd done what someone's arguing for.
Granted. I was in with a bad lot. I'm trying to make amends. If I can.
You don't know the half.
You're a stallion now, are you?
Sweetheart.
And that's the man you chose to ride with. A woman killer.
Well, it was after he killed his brother. And the way I understood it,
Making excuses for the man and his crimes. What kind of trap you think that's into, boy?
I ain't. I'm trying to help, honest.
One thing goes wrong. One thing other than you smelling funny, you're the first O'Driscoll will shoot.
Now we go left, road will take us up and around.
I'm a donkey from Strikey, and he turns into a stallion. I mean, hey. Man, hey, no. Man mounted a dragon. He had to be working with something.
Those are the hills. Head for 'em.
Save your horses. We gotta climb, boys.
Castratos are fed up on these days. I mean, so is castrizing people in general. Castratis and all of them.
You've been tied to a tree. You don't know nothing about
I mean, right?
Yeah, well, I'd say you don't know much.
There's a reason you got
about
with a dragon and you didn't have any other options, chat.
You know about them. And I
It took
know
a
all
dragon
about
to
them,
make
so
things function is what I'm saying, chat.
We like those mongrel dogs.
You're outlawed like them? You're out to survive like
Oh, well, hello, Tygo's mom. How you doing?
hard.
Welcome.
Fighting the law. Nature. You're out for your
Fucking fight me, Neeks.
This is why you're an O'Driscoll.
Wow.
O'Driscoll.
Wow.
To survive.
Wow. Insane.
To live. Free. Combs a sneak.
That makes sense.
Dutch is more like a teacher.
From where I've been, you just look the same as all.
Then you looked, but you ain't seen. John,
I had something completely different from reality, Gene, and I was like, what?
outside of you. Boys,
Huh? What are you talking about, Pom?
now,
Pommy.
who knows if this
Little tomato.
son of a bitch we got with us is
Thank you
talking
so
true.
much for
But
the
if that's
follow,
what he
Amandalorian.
says
Thank you. Welcome. How you doing?
we can end years of fighting.
I love theories.
Okay, now cut left up here. We go down the hill into the forest.
Did you eat my Rocky Mountain oysters? No. You can eat them yourself.
Try
If you're
not
flexible
to set
enough.
things off. But if we do,
Hi, Tygo's mom. Hi, lovely. Hope you enjoy your time here.
settle this like we know how, okay? Okay by me.
With you, Morgan.
All right then.
I look like Shrek. Echo, you're so mean to me. You have no clue what I look like. You will if you get me to Barna, though, chat. I'm just saying.
We're real close.
Self-steeping tea. Did you know that they can taste?
I'll get my guns off before
You can dunk your Rocky Mountain oysters and things, and apparently they can taste things. I haven't done it. I don't plan on doing it. But apparently they can. They can taste sweetness. So yeah, if that's something you ever want to do.
It's just the other side of this hill.
Okay. Off
Yeah.
your horses. Let's go.
You gonna get that
What would that
ass.
be, Tyga? What do you usually redeem? Echo hates me, chat. Echo hates me. It's fine.
It ain't far.
We might have shared a horse. We ain't friends. Remember, I'm watching you. Every moment.
I ain't gonna shop you now. Come on.
I don't know what you're talking about, Gibbets. It totally isn't. It's if you put it in sugar, you can taste it through them. It's very interesting.
Hey, there, you see?
Okay, get down.
Cabin's in the clearing down there. There'll be a bunch of fellas.
Let me know how it works, though. If you do, try it out tonight. I believe in all of you. You got this.
Wary of strangers, yep.
And Colm O'Driscoll?
He'll be holed up in his cabin. Be passed out, booze blind. Like
Such a weird prank.
Over there. Someone's coming.
So, who's gonna tell him we ain't got nothing for the pot?
Oh, let me think. The feller that spooked the game, I reckon.
I'm gonna go in and I'll catch up.
I mean, hey, Carmilla, I've been very bored all the time.
Wait, so you can tell him yourself. Yeah. If anyone's actually gonna shoot the messenger, it'd be that mean son of a bitch.
You want praises? Did you redeem praises?
Come on.
Did you redeem praises, Desi? Well, there they are. You did redeem praises.
About the pisser, Morgan. One by the tree.
Sunbill. Thank you so much for the redeem. And as you requested, Desi, your praise. Desi, you are very, very kind. You're funny, you're adorable, and you're just so very, very lovely. I have enjoyed all the time that you spent here. And the praise that you give me is just as lovely. I really, really, really do appreciate it. You're so very wonderful, kind, and just an amazing person all over. Please, always stay a member of this community, because the community is just better with you in it. Thank you so much for the praise, Redeem Desi. Thank you. I appreciate it. Mwah. For a while, Baird was getting bleached blonde. It resumed normal color after I left my ex, though. Yeah. Yeah. Desi is cool.
Okay. I got him.
Yell at my mom to get back in stream. Your mom can do whatever she wants. She's lovely. If she'd like to be here, I'd love to have her. And if she is feeling overwhelmed, that's okay too. There's a lot of stuff going on here at all times. Can be a bit hard to keep up with. Hey, Murphy T! Thank you so much for the raid. What is up? 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 Oh God, chat. Hey, you won! 1 second, chat. Congratulations, Murph! Murph. You just won a free sub. I hope you enjoy it. Hi, Raiders. What were you doing? What were you doing?
The next two. What's the plan?
Thank you. Okay. Knife go. No.
That's what knife's for.
Alright, we got this, chat. We're gonna sneak in there. But hi, Murph, what were you doing?
Come on. Get down this hill or I'll pull you down it. What the damn? Take it out. Moving on the camp.
Oh my God, that man almost screwed me over. What the oh, we're fine. But hi, Murph. Welcome. Hope you enjoyed your stream. If you need to raid and run, feel free to do so. And if you want to hang out more, it would be great.
Over here. Feather on the law. About him.
Yeah, I will be doing more. Wait, what do you mean you need to watch more streams? Neeks, you said you've watched my streams. What do you mean more streams?
Take him quiet, Marston. Okay. Get your hands dirty for a change.
Oh, Cyberpunk is great. I hope you enjoyed it. Neeks lied to me. Neeks is all like, oh, you know, I watch somebody else only when you're not streaming.
Now what? We're at the perimeter.
Well, Cyberpunk is great. Let your mom relax. If she wants to get invited and do a bunch of whatever, she can. But 1 second. Let's go.
You ready? I'll ever be.
Let's go.
How you doing up?
Oh shit, we're going hard. Okay, well, here we go.
Don't run away from me.
We cannot. Redeems are on timers very specifically because they used to get redeemed non-stop, and it would cause it so that I would sit here for an hour praising people over and over and over again. And as much as I enjoy playing games, not sitting up 2,000? Well, you better. By the way, if you watch every stream, your lovely points increase. Oh! And I'm over here wanting praise to be 10,000. Why? You don't like the praise? Do you hate it when I praise? Is that what it is, Neeks? Well, I'm sorry I don't praise well enough for you, Neeks.
Okay. Now what?
Fine, chat. I'm permanently increasing all of the redeems because Neek says so. I'm increasing praise. I'm increasing praise. As Neeks requested, they're all going up to 10,000.
Sure thing.
I always take showers. I love showers. Hey, thank you for the follow, Murph. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you need a raid run, feel free to do so. But if you just want to hang out, feel free to do that as well. Oof. Okay, we're gonna heal. Wish someone would do blurps. I had Taiga for a while. Don't freeze me!
Come on, man. Come on.
I thought this. Oh, damn it. Who's shooting me? Hey! Got him! Tangia. Sorry, not Taiga. Wait, where am I getting hit from? Who are we hitting? Oh, there he is. Yeah, I have Taiga actually doing all the sound effects for me in the back room. That's fine. There we go. Oh, good boy. What do you want to? What do you mean you want to ruin my stream? What would you even stop ragdolling? How would you ruin my stream using blurbs? What would you do? Where is he? Oh, there he is. Where the fuck is he? Huh? Who is shooting at me? Oh, fuck! What does blurbs do? How would you ruin my... Oh, God. Oh, God. How would you... Jesus fucking Christ. How would you ruin my stream? I don't understand. Just tell me. Yeah, well, how would that ruin my stream? It's just sound effects. Yeah. Who are we shooting at? Okay, where's this motherfucker? What was Guy doing over here? Chat, let me move. Chat, let me move. Chat, let me move. Let me move, chat. Ah! Ah! I can't. I can't move. You broke me. There we go. There we go. Oh, Jesus. Oh, okay. Where are they? Oh, there he is. Jesus. Master Chief saying, nice tits. You can literally pay me to say any of that. God damn it. Not the ambush again! Stop making me fight women! Fine. Neeks, not happening. Maybe it will happen. Maybe it will happen, okay? I don't want to fight anybody, chat. Let alone women. Oh, damn it, not this again. Where is he? There he is. It keeps lowering my morality.
I'm going to check it. Search out here. Make sure we ain't missed anything.
Thank you for the heal. Thank you for the heal. So there are channel point rewards. As you save up channel points, you can redeem any of the rewards there. Some of them are things I'll say. For instance, we have good girl or good boy, bad boy, whatever. Those are just straight things. Genuine praises, I'll give you genuine praise. But usually if you click on any of them, they should tell you what they do before you redeem them. Because they all require a text entry. And the longer in my stream, the more points you get, and the more things you can use, including things to screw with my current game. Hi, Eternal Dusk. How you doing?
Come here.
What?
You set us up.
No, I didn't.
You did. Colm O'Driscoll ain't here.
He was here, I swear. I mean, if I was setting you up, I wouldn't have saved your life.
It's a good point, Arthur.
Calypsy.
All right, then, go on.
Calypsy. You're such a good girl. Such a good girl.
Oh, shit, lost.
I'm letting you run away. Now go on. Get out of here.
That's as good as killing me. Out there,
Thank you for the redeem.
Colm O'Driscoll's gonna lose his mind about this.
Let him join up.
So I'm one of you.
Let him join up. Let him join up. Look at him. He's so cute. He's so chill. He's just a little guy.
All right, then.
He's just a little guy.
Oh, I know.
Come on, let's get to camp.
So you got
I like
cash
him.
then?
What cash?
Yeah, there's usually some cash in the chimney.
I'll check it. Rest of you boys get to camp.
He was
quick.
so excited. See how excited he was?
Hey,
In the
Bill.
chimney.
Tell Dutch old Kieran ain't worth killing just yet.
Right you are.
He already saw his dick. Let him join. You know what? Valid. Gun. Gun. Oh, it's a rusty gun. I want the gun. Take the gun, Arthur. Arthur, there's a gun. You see the gun? Take the fucking... Ah, yes. Ooh, boy. Can I clean it? Wait, can I clean it? Is there cleaning? Hey, I was cleaning a gun. Let me clean the gun. All right. Chat, there's a game called Into the Radius where you like go through like a crazy area and you just you find weapons. And part of it is having to maintain the guns, so there's a whole segment where you just clean the guns. I play that game for hours, just finding weapons, storing them, and cleaning the guns, and then like sorting them. It is the best. The best. I love it so much, and I know it'd be extremely entertaining to watch, but you know. I might play it when we get the full 3D model.
At least you got something tucked away.
My dear person. What time are we at? Oh, we're doing pretty good, chat. How are we feeling about stream?
Yep.
Everybody having a good time? You would love to watch me, just clean guns and collect weapons in VR? Yeah? Oh, I talked about like a whole new thing I was thinking about doing, but since like chat said that they didn't want to watch stream anymore, I thought I was just going to end stream here. That's what happened, Nix. Shut up, John. Yeah, see, Savvy agreed. Savvy wants me to end stream. Because chat just doesn't like me. Who reported the crime? Who reported what crime? The horse? Did you, Did you report the crime? Hey, did you report the crime? I can't...
Okay, boy.
That's insane. Can't believe you reported a crime.
Yep.
That's fine. You got this. Yeehaw! Personally, I thought that would work. Personally, I thought that would work. Technically, chat, guess how long we've been streaming right now? I guess. Fine, we'll do one last half hour, chat. We'll do one last half hour, okay? We'll do one last half hour, and then we'll be, we'll call it. No, because Neeks is making me do one last half hour. Neeks is just like, you have to stream, and they're holding a gun underneath the table right now. Neeks, it's cold. Please don't put that there. But then I guess I'll keep going. No, I'm just kidding. Eject player from vehicle. This is a horse. Your mother, I guarantee, has made worse jokes than I have ever said, and has hung out with people significantly more lewd than I am. Your parents have had a life before you. Exactly. No, Mango! Mango! Mango!
Damn it.
Oh no! There's something else actually I would like to talk about. It's that people baby the elderly. Okay, like my grandmother. Sure, was a church-going lady her entire life, but my grandfather was in the war, several wars. My grandfather has probably had to kill people. My grandmother dealt with like scarcity and some horrible, awful shit. And they're like, no, Grandma can't watch this movie. It has bad words in it. Grandma was probably there when they wrote the words. Hello, Coda. How you doing? Oh, Carlist. You're such a good boy. Such a good boy. Oh, right. I did promise something. Where are you? Where are you? Da 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 da. No. Where are you? There it is. I promised I would gift you a sub, so enjoy a free sub to my stream. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. I told Tyga if their mom came to stream, I'd gift them a sub. I don't lie. If I make a promise, I stick to it. You want to tune us up? Uh-huh. Do you want to tune us up backwards? Yeah. Neeks. Hi, horsies. Have you never heard that one? Have you never heard that one? Thank you, Carlos. You be good. I can't believe you've never heard of that one, Neeks. Oh, really? No. Well, Tyga's mom. Mandalorian, you're doing such a good job. You're doing absolutely amazing. And I really, really appreciate you being here. Fine, I'll behave. I'll behave, chat. What are they doing? Huh. La da da da. Da 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 da. La da 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 na 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 na. Goofy nukes. Oh, it's a little Foxy. Hi, Foxy. Oh, I'm sorry. What was that? What was that? Oh, thank you. Bust a nut in your damn. Really? Really, Nix? Crazy. Crazy. Absolutely insane, Nix. Oh. Shit.
Get out of here now, or I'll make you leave.
Oh.
Do you feel like dying today?
Chat, we're about to kill this man. You did not have to die like this. We could have hung out. We could have been friends. No. Amazing. Dear John.
Here.
Yeah, I know, and I wanted to have good honor, but chat keeps summoning women around me. So, you know, I'm going to try to be good from now on, chat. I'm going to try to be good. But, if you keep summoning women to fight me, I will... It's going to be hard, okay? It's going to be hard. And then every time I talk to an NPC, they're like, oh, what if we killed the lovely, lovely NPC? That's insane. Allie! Allie, hi, Allie. How's the lyrics? Will that increase my morality? Really, paying off my bounty is going to increase. That's great. Okay, well, you know. That's what it's all about. You put fucking.
Shit.
All right, Tiger. Are you sure? Are you sure that's what you want? Tiger, you're such a bad pet. Such a bad pet.
Well,
There you go.
like we are finally getting back
Thank you for the
on our
redeem.
feet.
You find a buyer for them bonds we stole?
Not yet, but Jose is working on it.
When we heading west?
I gotta stretch.
Soon? I don't know.
Really?
Feels
Really? Paying off the bounty just that feels weird. It feels weird to me. I mean, I'll pay it off, but like,
But they don't want folk like us no more. We're being hunted.
We are smarter than them. The feeblest of men take jobs in the government.
Savvy, Savvy, you know I don't hate you. What's up, Addy? What's up, Savvy?
They got Micah. Dutch. Arthur.
What's going
I
on?
don't hate you. Why would I ever hate you?
He's been arrested for murder. He was in
Oh, you redeemed praise.
Okay, son, breathe.
They nearly lynched me.
Addy.
They got Micah and the sheriffs in Strawberry.
Addy, you are very, very lovely and kind and very sweet. You are such a wonderful person, and you know I appreciate you so very much. I'm sorry, I don't always notice the redeems, but I appreciate how patient you are. How patiently you sit there, and you wait, and you wait. You are very lovely. Thank you for being just so amazing. Mwah. And you are doing amazing, by the way. You are doing great.
And there's talk of hanging.
Here's open. Arthur, what? The fool brought this on himself. You know my feelings about him,
You
Dutch.
think I can't see past his bluster to the heart inside? He is a fine man.
No, I ain't saying
Fair
that
enough.
fool.
That's also why I have a timer on it,
My
though.
face will be all over West Elizabeth. I am asking. He would do it for you.
I don't think he would, but fine, all right.
Arthur.
You okay, Lenny?
Yeah, of course I'm okay.
You don't seem okay.
You take that kid into town. Valentine, not Strawberry. Get him drunk. And Arthur, no crazy business.
We're getting drunk, chat.
And you get Micah out of that jail.
Come on, son. I'll get to it, Dutch.
Lenny! Lenny! Let's go, Lenny. I have yet to get to take a shower, by the way, chat. Arthur stinks so much.
Look out!
All right, y'all. Y'all, behave yourselves. If you want to flirt that heavily, there is a Discord for a reason. Get a bath in town? I sure hope so. I sure hope we can get one at least this one.
I rode as fast as I could, didn't stop for nothing.
Yeah, you look like you've been through it.
Uh-huh.
I'm beat. We finally get off that mountain, then this. Micah's got a crazy side off it.
What were you boys doing? You were supposed to be scouting ahead for us.
I kept asking him what we was doing,
Yeah.
but he was
I don't like Micah.
worried too much, kid.
I don't like Micah.
Just some business to attend to, kid.
Have
You
a
know
good
how
night,
he is.
Mandalorian.
Yes, I do.
He
Sleep
was
well.
half soaked before we even got there. Then we ran into some fellas. One of them Micah knew, drank some more. And this is supposed to be a dry town we're in, too.
And then he shoots one of them. I know how that goes.
Couldn't even tell you quite how. Happened like the strike of a match. The law was on us fast, too. They was ready to strangle me up there and then. But I got away.
Hey, I mean, your dad's welcome, too.
You're all right now. We'll take care of it.
So you're gonna go get him? I'll come with you.
No, you leave it to me. For now, let's drink some. Forget about Mike.
It was drink that started all this.
We'll just have a couple. Settle you down, then head back, okay?
Okay.
Now,
I see you trying to make me fight nearby NPCs. I see it.
the other boys, we got in a bit of a fight last time we was here.
What are you waiting for? Hey, is there a problem, Arthur?
I guess we're riding horses. Did he get off the horse? Why did he get off the Ah.
Just talking about...
What kind of fight?
Okay, chat, I don't want to lower my morality anymore, so we're just gonna run. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I crucified, crucified like my savior. I ain't in the mood either, man. I'm not in the mood either. There we go.
Oh, nothing big. No, we kept it clean. We're all good. Here we are.
Damn it. Damn it. Damn it. Come on. Okay. Oh, cut. No. I don't want to fight. Leave me alone. Let me lean on the bar. All right, chat. Well, it is 2:53. You know what that means, chat. You know what that means, chat. Wait, do I need to stay for the scene? It's been 6:27. We have 6 minutes left. What about ASMR thing? Oh, the ASMR thing! Oh my God, chat! I completely forgot about the ASMR thing. You're right, chat. You're right, chat. Okay, we're gonna go listen to the preview. We're gonna watch this thing. God, I completely forgot about it. Carmia, Carmia, you absolutely lovely, lovely person. You are so amazing. I do appreciate you, honestly. Okay, so this is me doing more of my sensual style of ASMR, and this is the lovely Jake the Voice Parr doing more of a character. I have not listened to this yet, so this is all a first preview that we're going to watch together, okay? Hopefully it's amazing. Hopefully it's lovely. Hopefully I don't cringe because I haven't heard it at all. And I'm I'm worried, chat. I'm worried. I'm a little worried. I think it's gonna be good. But eeh. Having never heard it. So hopefully y'all like it. All right, ready? It is 16 minutes long, so I will probably disable my model here and let y'all focus on this and then sit back and be quiet for the whole thing, okay? Mm-hmm. All right, here we go. You ready? Actually, let me take a look. I don't think I have this set up properly, but we'll find out. Well, what'd you think? What'd you think? Did you all enjoy it? Hopefully you all enjoyed it. A little collab. That is also so they do a lot more. If you want to go check them out, they do have a full-on like channel here. They do a bunch of different characters, very interesting. Feel free to check them out. And yeah, I think it was cool. I think it was a lot of fun. Next time I want to do it more like he does it though. Like I'll back away from the mic a bit. You know, I know mine's more intimate and it works a little bit better for ASMR, but I want consistency, you know, with the theming. And it was really, really good. He did really well. So yeah, I'm glad you all seem to have liked it. Hopefully we'll be doing some more collabs in the future. I did one recently where I sent something off, but I don't know if it's going to be used. We'll find out. I'm also going to post about this on the Twitter. But yeah, go check them out. Go check them out. It's pinned up the top. If you haven't gone and taken a look and given them a like yet, you should. You definitely should. If you care about me at all. Just kidding, but you know. Let me see if I can make sure that I can copy this. Boom, 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 boom. Hey, all, I did a little. One second. Okay, but yeah. I was literally laying my head on the mic in VC. So y'all enjoyed it? Y'all liked it? Good. I hope you all enjoyed it. I'm posting a little Twitter, little thing on Twitter. Hopefully people will take a look. I guess we should probably pin it. But what's on? Oh, also, people, if you haven't yet, we still have. Oh, shoot, where'd it go? We still have the Hear Me Out. We're going to do a Hear Me Out cake. If you haven't submitted for the Hear Me Out cake, please do so. There's a link with a Google link and everything else. Yeah. Anyways, it was a lot of fun today. I'm glad you all enjoyed that, and I'm glad I'll be posting up in the Discord too. And yeah, I had a good time. Submit anything, whether it's goofy, silly, whatever. Just no like lewd images. I mean, like lewd is fine, but like no hardcore porn. You know what I mean, right? Yeah, no one submitted like somebody getting doinked, right? Nobody submitted themselves getting doinked, right? Or anybody getting doinked? No? Good. All right. I'm glad. Okay, we're going to take a quick look over here. I think we're doing pretty good today. Let's find somebody we can raid into. What are we feeling? I didn't like their stream. What are they doing? Let's go check them out. Anybody have anybody that they want me to raid into? I will be posting mod apps as well. I'll probably wait until the morning just to give it a little space, because I don't want to overcrowd stuff. But yeah. Here's a new person. It's recommended. And of course there's an advertisement. Okay, well, maybe they're cool. Here, we'll take we're not rating shrimp. We're not rating. You know what? Let me check out something real quick here. We might raid shrimp. We might raid shrimp. We might raid shrimp. I need to look at something real quick. Never mind. Never mind. Okay, I can't raid into that. Yeah. Instead, let's raid into King Anura. He's a femboy. All right, we'll check him out. Bet. Okay, chat. Go say hi to King. You all be lovely, be kind, be sweet as you always are. We'll do a classic, you know. Thank you, Aura. God, Aura's got it on lock. And we will be back tomorrow morning. 3-hour stream this time, chat. I hope you all are happy. All right. Bye-bye. Mwah, mwah.